Okay, guys. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do kind of a two-lane hold, but obviously we can't push out this building because of the amount of VS outside. So Alpha.
So we have gone over the basics of squad leading. Now let's lead some platoons.
Covering all of the entrances in. Delta and Bravo, you guys can actually push out a little bit and get a flank set up.
Back in communication, I talked about how an SL and a PL interact with each other. The PL does the macro management while the squad leader manages and leads the squad. The ability to allow a squad leader to lead their squads is one of the factors which separates a good and a bad platoon leader. If a platoon leader leads a full platoon as a single squad all the time, he is not a great platoon leader, he is a great squad leader. However, you must remember that there are situations where the platoon leader is better off leading an entire platoon as a single unit, in particular, icebreakers, because you're all moving as a massive ball. The role of the platoon leader is to manage the macro scale part of the fight. On live, it usually involves continental awareness, what is going on the continent, and fight awareness, what is going on in the base, so such as attack lanes, population distribution within the base, stuff like that. The platoon leader then gives overall objectives to each squad and allows the squad leaders to do their work. Personally, the way I do it, I will mark a squad primary objective with the 3 chevron squad waypoints, and then I will try to leave it there. I'll set overall objectives and let the squad leader do their thing, no matter what it is, as long as the objective is carried out. I will only micromanage what's going on when there are multiple squads that are working at the same time on the same thing. For example, an icebreaker, coordinated drop, or I've got 2 squads guarding the same area, in which case I'll just give them separate lanes.
Okay guys, this is what we're going to do. Bravo and Charlie, I want you guys to get on the building on the south side. Alphas, I want you guys on the point. So Bravo, Charlie on that building. Alphas, get on the point.
The maximum number of units a platoon leader should be worried about is 4. 4 for 4 squads. They should never concern themselves with 48, it should always at max be 4. So what does a platoon leader do on a fight-by-fight basis? I've talked about this before in communication, so I'll be very brief with this. When giving overall objectives to squads, I try to assign them points and lanes, so if multiple squads are covering a single point, I will assign them attack lanes to cover, and if there are multiple points, I will simply give them a capture point to defend. So it's as simple as Alpha go to A, Bravo go to B, Alpha cover the west lanes, Alpha cover the north lanes, stuff like that. Very simple overall objectives.
Right, Alpha Bravo on B point, by the way, Charlie on C. Sorry, I was negotiating in command chat.
One of the main issues platoon leaders can face on live is the ability to split up a platoon, although maybe willingness is a better word for this. In either case, many platoon leaders will never split up a platoon and just keep them going as a gigantic zerg ball. However, splitting up a platoon is the basis of any macro tactic in the game. No, by splitting up, I mean sending squads to alternate bases, not attacking different points in a base. That is something else entirely. The main cause for this, though, is often lack of trusted squad leaders that can lead a competent squad, or it's just the style of platoon you're leading. There is no right or wrong way, like I've said many times. Another issue platoon leaders face is communicating with other squads or platoons. At the time of recording this, if you as a platoon leader cannot get your leader comms working, give yourself squad lead and then give it back to whoever was squad leading before. That will enable your command comms again if that's an issue you face. In general though, if you do have it working, if you as a platoon leader are going to a base which is already contested, communicate with the people that are already there if possible. Believe me when I say inter-platoon coordination makes everything magnitudes easier and magnitudes more fun when you're playing the game, and you can accomplish a hell of a lot more. All you need to do is, for example, say something like commands 252 with 3 squads move into Eco Valley, or something along those lines. If someone responds, they can give you info on where they need you so that your squads can be the most effective, and honestly can do this extremely quickly.
There's an enemy Sandy at attack marker and several
Okay
tanks
guys,
around
what we're going to
defensive
do, I
marker.
want every squad to make sure they got a massive amount of light assaults, and we've got loads of time to redeploy back into the galaxies. Galaxies take off, Bravo Galley is still on the ground. What we're going to do is Alpha Squad, I want you dropping light assaults on the Alpha waypoint, Bravo drop light assaults on the Bravo waypoint.
So I'm going to quickly go over what macro tactics are then. Macro tactics are any movements which affect another base on the map. For example, I might send 2 squads to attack the Bastion, while I send another 2 to the Augur and Lifcourt Fortress. All these bases will be against the same faction, so what would happen is the actions at the tower base will affect the 2 bases that I sent the other squads to due to how the populations will be distributed. I would send the 2 squads to the tower to aim to attract as many enemy forces as possible, because A, it's a larger force and it's an easier base to defend, and because the base it's a more important base as well. So what I do, I use those 2 squads to attract as many enemy forces as possible to that base. My intention is not to cap it, it's a distraction cap, so it's to distract enemy forces. And then, once the squads at the Bastion are wiped, I would redeploy them both to another base, and this is called a lane hop, and it's a primary counter to Redeployside. So these 2 squads at the Bastion would reinforce either the Augur or Lifcourt Fortress, so I sent the other 2 squads. And then we'd actually get one of those bases at least. So that was like a quick example of a lane hop, so I'll kind of explain how to do it. And this is the main counter that I use to counter Redeployside, or Zerg balls.
Okay, we've got outpopped 2-1 now. This is a good fight, let's keep it going. Keep going in there.
So the idea of a lane hop is very simple. You attack 2 bases, you take 1. It was developed as a way to counter the infamous Miller vs Zerg ball, and it's extremely effective to do. And it can be done with anything above 2 squads relatively easily, and the more squads you have, the more bases you can attack. So how to do it then? Assuming that I've got 2 competent squads, this is what I'll do. I will pick 2 bases to attack. Parallel lanes are easier. I will try to time it so that the base you want to capture will be taken slightly after the one you don't want. So what will happen is the Zerg ball, in theory, will go to that base that's counting down first, which is the one I do not want, and they'll overrun that, and I can just reinforce the base I do want. Then what I'll do then, I will send 2 squads to each base, and I will get the squads to time the cap if possible, for the reasons I just explained, and then I will get them to overload the base with force multipliers. I'm talking battle sunderers, harassers, maxes, anything, to make it as hard as possible for the defending forces to get onto the capture point. The aim is to delay, it's not to take the base in a lot of cases. Apart from the bases you want to get, obviously. And then once they're all set up, they just wait. Due to the redeploy system at the time of recording this, they will come to either of the bases at one point. So when the redeploy zerg arrives, all you have to do is hold them off as long as possible. It's as easy as that, you just farm away. And then once they overrun the point, and the squad is wiped, just immediately reinforce the other squad. Even if the actual squad is not wiped, if you lose the point, just redeploy away, if you can't get it back easily. And then what that squad will do, it will just reinforce the other base, and then you'll get that base as well by reinforcing it. It's a very, very simple and effective macro tactic. And the more squads you have, the easier it is to do. It will only work on bases though that have the same capture length. So for example, you couldn't, in theory, do this with the Crown and the Palisade due to the 3-minute time difference on the capture timer. So I mainly use this to counter gigantic Zerg balls and to counter Redeployside, because the way Redeployside works now, the main issue with it is you will spawn a squad leader in first and then spawn everyone on top of the squad leader due to the squad spawn mechanic. But that is a video for another day. However though, due to the overabundance of force multipliers at the base, it is possible to secure a cap on both bases if the Zerg ball splits up, assuming it's only about double your size. This tactic relies heavily on effective squad play within a platoon and good timing of the platoon leader, so a lot of the work, well most of the work even, comes down to the squads working well together.
Squad waypoint not shown this base.
Please tell me Charlie's almost there.
So guys, that was a basic introduction to macro tactics and platoon play. It's very simple, it's very, very straightforward. I think platoon leading is actually easier than squad leading is. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, share, subscribe and all that if you're up to it. And you want to see more content from me, and hopefully see you next time for another leadership video. So, goodbye for now.